Hello and welcome to the Not a Guru podcast. I'm one of your podcast hosts, Tyler Smith, certified athletic trainer, certified strength and conditioning specialist. I'm also here alongside the prestigious Dr. Heidi Cook. We are here to help you with personal development, personal growth, and really building a foundation that lasts you your whole life. We're so excited you're here today, and let's jump in. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. It's a good Wednesday evening, although it is bitter cold here in Boise. Cold.
How cold?
This morning I woke up and it was 4 degrees outside my house. And then the high today was 21 degrees.
It was 1 degree when I woke up this morning. Guess what the real feel was?
What?
-14.
Ew, that's disgusting.
Yeah. And I dragged my baby out in 9-degree weather so that I could shovel my sidewalk.
Because by God, we're going to get the sidewalk done.
Yes. For anybody hating, I bundled him up, dragged him outside, and put him in the preheated truck in his car seat. So that he was not sitting outside in 9-degree weather. It is currently 3 degrees here.
Ew.
Real feel -8.
Ew, that's not fun.
Nope, I'm over it.
Feels like we're having at least over in Boise, like a late winter. Like we had nothing, like basically November, December, even the first half of January was like raining in 40s. And I was like, oh, this is pretty easy. And then all of a sudden it decided like, haha, gotcha. Now it's going to be cold as shit.
I feel like it does this to us every year, though. Like we get through Christmas, and then it's like middle to end of January. It's just like
Yeah, double birds to all of
double birds. Anyways, I'm over it. Because I have a threshold in which I will not take Cal out on a walk. Like I rely on those walks so much every day. We go for a walk every day. And I
Right.
rely on them so much because A, he enjoys them. B, I feel good about like getting him out into the fresh air, when it's so cold outside and we can't like go play outside or go, spend time outside. It's like our one way to like get outside, get fresh air. And in Colorado, I mean, typically, even if it's freezing cold, the sun is still out. So like get him some sunshine and get me some sunshine. And so like I rely on those so much that I had to like give myself a threshold of like, maybe you shouldn't drag your child out into the cold, even if he's bundled up, if
Yeah.
it's less than 30 degrees outside.
You're like, you know what?
Uh,
That would probably be a good idea.
Probably be a good idea. Um, so anyways, I typically will like, play it by ear, and we have not been able to go for a walk for like the last 2 or 3 days. Or no, last 2 days. The day before, we should not have gone for a walk. I looked, it was sunny outside, and the weather said it was like 35 or 36. I was like, all right, we're gonna bundle up, we're gonna go. We go. And the wind was like cutting through. And it was like by the time we reached the point where the wind was like hitting his little face, which I felt so bad, it was like too late to turn around and go back, but like we just had to commit. And when we got home, I looked at what the real feel was, and it was like 15 degrees. I was like, I'm the worst mom.
No, they put kids in snow in other countries. You're fine.
Yeah, I mean, when I took him out of the car seat, he was still all toasty warm. I just felt bad about his little cheeks.
Little cheekies.
Yeah, I don't think he would tolerate a ski mask.
You
So,
can try it. It's
but
all the rage
anyways,
for all the kids these days. Just ski
yeah,
mask it up.
yeah, that's right. How was your week?
Good. Pretty good. So this is how my week started. Well, started. So I'm gonna be out of town for Valentine's Day because we're traveling to Seattle for a meet. Thanks, Boise State Track, for throwing a wrench in that one.
Yes,
Which
thank
it
you.
worked out. So like the week before, Lindsay and I planned a date night on Saturday, and then Sunday we were, a little slow around in the morning, went over, visited her, picked up Quentin, visited her parents, and then it was the Super Bowl. So we were just kind of doing stuff. And I don't know what happened, but we got home from the Super Bowl and I was like, oh, I need to check something. I need to type something up for one of my athletes. So I was typing it up and sending. And then Lindsay's on there and she's like, oh, are you posting the podcast? And I looked at her and I was like, nope, haven't done any of that. It was like 9:30 at night. Like, well, you can go watch some shows. I got some work to do. Which has never happened. I've never forgot about that until that one day. And I was like, okay, so this week's going splendidly well. No, it went just fine. It was
Off to a
just
good start.
it's off to a good start when I remember it, like I have to actually do work at 9:30 at night. No, it worked out. The week's been really good.
Good.
I feel like the illnesses minus my coworker's daughter have like started to subside a little bit. But we'll see how that goes. Like I said, we're only just dealing with some cold weather, which is not as cold as you guys, but when
I
you're
mean,
supposed to go
I say
outside and run 7 to 8 miles, they're just like it's not, no one wants to do that. It's an uphill battle.
and I say anything like 20 degrees and below is just it's all the same and
Yeah,
it's
it's
all
real pretty.
unbearably cold. Like once we hit the teens, like it doesn't matter. I'm
Yeah,
out.
it's not the funnest thing in the world, but
No,
it
certainly.
also is really nice though, and I was bragging like that I have my new truck that I can hit the like auto start from inside. So by the time I get out there, it's warm. That has been that's been a money maker
Yeah.
here as of late. So
I don't know what I would do without that with a kid. Like, especially a baby. Like I would just feel so bad loading him up in a cold truck when it's 4 degrees outside.
yeah. Oh, that's
But
really cold too. Yeah.
like it's, you know, I just rely on it so much. And I was thinking about it today. I was like, man, times are hard. Have to click a button to start the truck.
The only thing I have to be careful of is I do think I waste gas doing that because like
Oh
I get
yeah.
a 15-minute window. Sometimes I press that a little too much.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I'll do some other stuff. And then
Yeah.
I know if I go out there and the car's not or the truck's not on, I was like, yeah, I was over 15 minutes. I in a 1 ton V6 or V8 truck that's wasting a little bit of gas there. So
Yeah, I definitely do that too. Actually did that yesterday. Started the truck, got distracted with Cal and diaper change and all this stuff and didn't get out the door and got outside and the truck wasn't on. And I was like, well, it's toasty warm in here.
yeah, it is nice
Uh,
though. I will say
yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure,
How's
for
your
sure.
week been?
Good. Sam and I were both saying like it feels like a weirdly particularly like long week. Uh like I all week have felt like it's one day ahead. So like on Monday I thought it was Tuesday. On Tuesday I thought it was Wednesday. Today feels like Thursday. Like it, it has just felt like off, which is very strange. And I was saying that to Sam, and Sam was like, "No, it has literally felt like Thursday all week this
Oh,
week."
I've been trying
He
to
was
get
like,
there.
"On Monday," I was like, "Do I need to take the trash out?" I was like, "No, it's Monday." Uh,
So
so
close.
anyway, yeah, so close. So, anyways, that's been interesting. But yeah, it's been good. I did my very first night away.
I saw that. I was gonna ask how
Yes.
that went.
Went really, really great. I
I'm glad. Yeah.
yeah, I was really nervous about it. Cal is a very particular little guy. And like we just so many things that could have gone awry. And he just was a champ and dad was a champ and a couple of things that maybe didn't go exactly as smooth as if I was there, but like so what? He did
Yeah,
totally
sure.
fine and him and dad figured it out. Um and like all of this, I want to preface all of this as like none of this is because of Sam's capability as a dad. It's all just because Cal has like just such a heavy preference for mom right now, and uh a lot of that just like having to do with his sleep and eating and stuff just because he's you know, a breastfed baby. So anyways, it went really, really great. Couldn't have gone better. And I feel like I really got to like disconnect. I
Awesome.
was There were a couple of times where I found myself, you know, like thinking about, you know, things or stewing on things or worrying about things. And I just like had to remind myself over and over, just like, they got it, be where your feet are. If they don't got it, Sam will call you. Like, and I really do feel like I got to like truly disconnect and just like be with myself for the first time in 8.5 months.
Good.
Uh, and just like, because like, you know, I've done little outings and stuff without him. Um, but that was the longest I've ever been away. We did 24 hours, and it was just like this full body reset. I was talking to my friend and I was just like, you know, I was having a really hard time like on the drive over. Um, I was like, but once I checked into the spa, I was okay.
That's okay. Everything magically felt a little bit better.
Yeah, everything was fine. So yes, not only was it a glorious 24 hours away and just like a reset mentally, I also got to spend it at a spa, which certainly does not suck.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay. Which I'm so excited for you because I think that that was really great and healthy.
Thank you.
Does this quell the vacation worries that we've had? And did it quell any of it? That it may have not, it's never gonna get rid of all of it, but did
Right.
it give you like a chance to be like, okay, this could actually happen. I feel like at
Yeah.
first you're like, this may not, like there's I don't even see a road for this to be a possibility. Did it at least open up that picture where you're like, okay,
Yes and yes.
yes, yes,
Uh,
and yes.
yes, it did.
Good.
There are
That's
still
great.
some hurdles
Sure,
to get
absolutely.
over, but this was hurdle number one, and it
Absolutely.
was super successful. So we're just gonna move on to hurdle number two. I think the thing for me, the two barriers that I still haven't solved. So like even if hurdle two and three go great, the two things that are I'm still stuck on a little bit is it's just a big leap for me to go from one night away that I was staying at a hotel that was 45 minutes away, uh, to 5 nights away.
Sure. That's
That is a plane ride away. So
yeah,
if
that's
something isn't going well or doesn't go right or whatever, like I can't just come home, you know?
sure. Yeah, no,
Um,
that makes sense.
so that's a little nerve-wracking. And then the second thing is I just don't know if I have enough milk to leave.
Yeah, that'll be tricky too.
So that's another thing I need to assess. I could totally surprise myself and look in the freezer because I just haven't been keeping track of how much is in there. Um, but I know some of it's like also expired and I need to go through it all. So that's a hurdle. And then we need to do some trials with who's gonna watch him while we're gone and just make sure that he can handle it.
Sure.
But anyways, yeah. So it definitely opened the door.
Good. I'm very glad to hear that. I'm
It
very
was
glad
a
for you.
really big first
It
step.
was. I know how I could see how that was a big step for you. Very proud of you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I've been doing this thing. I have a calendar on my wall, called uh I don't know if anybody's seen it. It's called the Big Ass Calendar. Have you seen it before? Let me see if I can flip this around so you can see it.
Oh, I see. Oh.
So it's your entire year
Uh-huh.
in one calendar. Oh, jeez. And each row is a month. Anyways, it's from this guy named Jesse Itzler. He's the one who created it and the format of it and stuff. and they have this thing called Kevin's rule, which is every 8 weeks. So basically, like every other month, um, you plan a mini adventure, and it's basically just like something that you wouldn't normally do, or something that like pushes you outside of your comfort zone, or something new to try. And so that was my Kevin's Rule adventure for the first one.
Nice.
So
I like that.
yeah, it was great. But yes, I'm very proud of myself, and I got the opportunity to really slow down.
And just enjoy things. That must have been very beneficial for you.
It was very beneficial, seeing as I am somebody who typically needs to constantly be productive in order to feel mentally well.
No, exactly. And that is a great lead into our topic today.
Wow, that was actually a pretty good segue.
That
I
was
mean, I feel
good.
like we could have nailed it a little bit sharper, a little bit better. I could have come up with something witty, but I will say that was a pretty natural transition.
Sure. I think I just need to come in a little bit more and leap in there
Mm,
instead of laughing and watching it just,
crash and burn.
crash and burn.
Perfect. Yeah, so today Tyler had the wonderful idea, because he was sparked by somebody very close to him. Got this idea about slowing down, and this kind of idea that there are many of us where, like, being constantly busy, being constantly productive is not only like a badge of honor to like be scheduled out to the max, but also like it ends up being almost like a drug, in that like pursuit of constant busyness, because we are unable to slow down, to relax, because we, feel like we either don't deserve it, we feel like we, uh, you know, haven't done enough in order to rest. We are like tying our worth to our busyness and productivity, and really struggle to take time to slow down. Um, because then that means, if our worth is tied to our productivity and we aren't being productive, then we are worthless. Anyways, and so we could we'll continue to dive down that rabbit hole, but just overall that concept of uh, slowing down. And I want to talk about what slowing down can do for you too, and what that kind of looks like to help anybody who's struggling to slow down, who's maybe kind of burning the candle at both ends because they are incapable of resting.
Yeah. And I mean, it shows itself in a couple different things and I can't remember the exact quote. It's like if achievement and productivity is your drug, then being quote unquote unproductive or relaxation or those things are going to be the opposite side. They're going to feel like almost painful to you. Like, I can't do that.
Withdrawals.
Yeah, you're going to have like a withdrawal. Like, well, I should be doing something. Something else has got to get done. Um, and I think the hardest part in this is if you look at work, if you look at, your home, if you look at a lot of different facets, um, there is something to the saying that like, well, more is always going to be better, or like you're going to get rewarded for extra achievements for, being ultra productive at work. But I think the other thing that we never do is like the cost analysis of like, okay, yeah, I'm always busy, but am I paying enough attention to my spouse and my kids because I'm always running around, trying to do the next thing? Am I enjoying the experience? And I think a good example of this for some people might relate to this is I remember hearing an article of Nick Saban, who was a very famous Alabama football coach. Um, his goal is to win a national title every year. Like that's the pinnacle of where he needs to be. And he recalled, or in an interview, basically said, I had won the national title that night, and I had started to think about how to win the next one, not like 5 hours after I won it. And then it kind of like, wait a minute, I need to slow down. I'm not even enjoying what is going on because I'm so addicted to being productive, to what's next, to the point where you can be doing all these amazing things and they just slide by you because you're always, like you said, your drug is to be productive or to have achievements. And there's a lot of different ways. Some people it is incentive based, money based, monetary based. And for some people, it's as simple as I got a lot of praise when I was a kid because if I did something productive, my parents would be like, that's great. And they would praise you. And then that's your learned behavior.
Right.
Like that's how I get love. That's how I get appreciation. So there's a lot of different avenues to take it. But I think there's a lot of times if we don't recognize this pattern, it can be destructive in our lives.
100%. Like I think about it in a couple of different ways. First way is similar to, we've talked about this a lot when it comes to like strength training. And I actually just had this discussion with somebody um, who didn't want to take like rest days. And this is specifically in the realm of strength training. And I was like, you're working against yourself when you're not taking those rest days. Like those rest days are really like a really important piece to the strength building puzzle, because if we're constantly breaking down the muscle fiber and not giving it a chance to fully rebuild, while yes, you are seeing strength gains because you're constantly breaking down that muscle fiber, you would see more strength gains either more quickly, more efficiently, if you allowed your body to fully rest and recover and allow that muscle tissue fiber to fully repair and rebuild before tearing it down again. So it's almost like we want to take, you know, we want to take 2 steps back and take 3 steps forward instead of, without taking that rest day, you're constantly taking 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps
Yeah.
forward. Maybe we're taking 2.5 steps, here and there, but we're just like kind of on this hamster wheel and not really allowing yourself to reap the benefit of the work that you're putting in. And like I said, you kind of end up working against yourself in some ways. And I think about that similarly when it comes to rest outside of strength training as well. If we're constantly running on a limited tank because we're always busy, we're always burning the candle at both ends, we're always, putting the time in, there's always something to be done, right? We're kind of like working against ourselves in a way because we're always running on a kind of half empty tank, or even less than half empty.
Yeah.
And so nothing that we are doing, nothing that we are giving ourselves to, we are able to give 100% to, right? We're kind of half-assing it at home with our family. We're, you know, tired and not on the top of our game at work. We're, um, you know, we are either saying no to hobbies, and we're not having any sort of like personal growth or fulfillment or anything like that because everything else is taking, the front seat. And when we're constantly running at that level, that just feels like the norm, right? And so the
Right.
second way that I think about it a lot is like when I lived in Oregon and it was constantly raining, right? Like we always said, like it was 42 and drizzling from Halloween until Easter. And like that was just, you didn't even need to check the forecast because that's what it was going to be. And I remember feeling like, I'm doing okay. Like I don't feel like, everybody talks about how, the weather really gets them down and, the seasonal depression and all these different things. I was like, I honestly feel like I'm doing pretty good. And then you get one random sunny and 60-degree day the sun is out, and I was like, oh my God. I had my windows rolled down, I had my music blaring. I felt like I was a different human. And I was like, holy shit, maybe it was affecting me. And so it's like when we're constantly running at that level, just like bing, 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 we don't we don't know what it would feel like to truly refill our tank and approach these different areas of our life at 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I've noticed a lot, and you said this, and I was trying to find a way to tie it, and I think this will work, is and not that it can't go both ways, but I feel like one thing that has been in my head about this is um being achievement oriented, wanting to, just push, push, push is kind of sometimes gets tied into self-worth. And I was listening to a podcast about how men can really tie this into what they do and what they work. And all of our productivity gets pushed into, I'm supposed to provide for my family. I'm supposed to work. I need to make home, pay the big bills. I need to do all this. And then when you come home, like you can't do that high level of productivity like at your home. So you're like a fraction of who you are when you walk through the door because you've kind of, like you said, that bucket is spent and it's used up. And you can
Mhm.
see that a lot. And there's always like some sort of imbalance. And like, once again, lots of sports analogies today. The easiest one is like the Tom Brady. He is forever the best football quarterback ever. Not a great husband and a father at all. Like,
You
pretty
don't
well,
say.
yeah, pretty well known. Like, phenomenal football player, shit spouse and dad. Like just terrible. But that's because we got so fixated on our productivity in one side that we couldn't slow down, see what was in front of us and like enjoy that part. Because even when he did, he was still thinking about, oh, wait, I got to still go. I still need to do this to get, I got to break down film. I got to do this. And you're like, wait a minute. No, like, first of all, you don't. And that's
Yeah.
one thing that I always say in a lot of this is when we get, you use the
But
phrase,
first of
they're
all, you retired.
kind of pseudo,
Right.
and then
He
came
could
back.
he didn't actually retire.
You didn't ever. He'll never retire. But I think he's tied so much of his self worth into this game that he doesn't
Right.
know what to do, which leads to other things. When you get that part, you don't have, it sounds bad, you miss out on skills like around your house. Like I had conversations with people who have been so entrenched in big business that literally don't like, I've had people like, I don't know how to change my kid's diaper. That's not a skill I ever got because I never did it. I was the human that was like at work, traveling all across the country, doing all this. And like my wife didn't have to work, so she did it. But it was like, I kind of laughed. I was like, she should have made you do it. Like
Yeah.
you should, like she thought she was being helpful. But in some ways, it's like, no, he needs this skill set. He needs to slow down coincidentally, like his health wasn't great about stuff. But it's this constant play of like being able to not use that achievement or that productivity as your drug all the time, because in anything, you're going to get unbalanced in it and it's going to come out in some other aspect of being deficient in something else.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think um you mentioned it too, of like this kind of self-identity, or, self-worth that gets tied into our productivity, that creates this inability to let go of any of that productivity, or kind of forward action, because if we aren't participating in something that's moving the needle forward, then we're not worth it, or like we're not, that's like giving up a piece of our identity.
Sure.
um and I think for a lot of us, you had mentioned it, in terms of this learned behavior that we had through achieving things as kids, if that's how we got, our praise, if that's how, we got affection, or, from whoever was raising us, whatever, right? Like there are a
Sure.
lot of deeper seated uh things that lead to maybe why we have these kind of achievement tendencies. And I think that's beyond both Tyler and my scope. But I think within that lens, all we can do is kind of look at how do we move forward? How do we move out of that? And I think the low hanging fruit, right, is how do we reframe rest so that we can view it from almost like a productive lens, right? Similar to what I was talking about before, when it's, it is assisting you in your ability to continue to perform in whatever it is that you perform. And I think that's one way to like get over the hump in taking rest, right? And maybe finding a little bit more balance. But at some point, we do need to take it a step further and really dive into like, why does every single moment, every single minute, every single, second of my day have to be productive in order for me to feel good when my head hits the pillow at night?
Yeah. Well, and I think the one thing that you said that I can relate to some people is like, there always had something always needs to be done. And one of the questions I want to ask is like, does it really? And this sounds bad, or is it you think that something always has to be done? And there are other people that are like, that could probably tell you like, no, that's okay if we don't get that done. Like the world will not end if this task does not get completed today. Like, is everyone going to live? Is anyone going to starve? Is anyone going to die? No. But we can rationalize it in our head as like, well, no, but we have to do this. And like, I kind of joke around this stuff, but sometimes I've had to work with some people where you're like, here's what I want you to do. Some of them, it's like a drip that's rest a little bit. And some of them, it was like, this is a terrible analogy. It's like throwing them in the drunk tank and locking the door and be like, no, you don't get to do that. Like, you have to sit around. We're going to Jamaica and there's nothing for us to do except sit your ass on the beach and do nothing.
Yeah.
Because even then you're going to start to think and be like, nope, every time you bring it up, nope, nope, nope. And you can tell yourself like, I think I need to, and then you need to almost be like comically about it. Like, oh, I got to remember this. And like, once you get something in your mind, like, oh, what about this? Be like, nope, nope, not doing it. Nope, nope. Like out loud to yourself, like, nope, that is not a priority today. My priority is those kids and those people in that building, not work, not emails, not all this stuff. Everything's fine. You almost have to find a method to talk and walk yourself through it.
Yeah. 100%. So if you're somebody who is struggling to take rest, if you feel like you are, you know, always dancing the line of feeling burnt out, if you are um feeling like you're not able to give 100% in anything that you're doing, if you feel like, you can never take a beat because there's always something that needs to be done, or because, you know, it, it feels almost uncomfortable to take rest.
I
What
get that
would
way
you
sometimes.
what would you say to that person, or what would you suggest for that person to take a baby step into accepting some rest in part of their day so that they can see how it assists them, mentally, physically, and, within those different roles in their life as well?
I think one of the things that I have learned to do, because there are times where this describes me very well, where I'm like, I just need to,
Oh,
I mean,
totally.
yeah, I have I have a very busy job. I do stuff with you. We take call, like, it's not like I just go home and, people have said, or they'll look at all your Christmas lights. They're like, do you just sit around and relax? And I was like, not well. Like, usually I try to find something, but
Yeah.
what I like to do,
Busybody.
busybody, is when I first really needed to break that, I like to find things, and I can give like a couple quick examples of like stuff that helped me disassociate, but like created a buffer where I wasn't thinking about said task or things that might need to happen. Things like an easy one or a great one for me was killing, a couple birds with one stone, is getting with my wife and son and like going like to a movie where you're not really doing anything. You're just sitting, you're enjoying yourself and you're with people, but like cognitively giving my mind something to chew on. So I was not going back to, oh, but we still need to do this. Oh, but we still need to do that. Tying it to things for me, like in was like just taking a walk with my dogs, which for me, like, I don't know if that feels or sounds like it's unproductive for me. Like that's just something that I feel, sometimes it feels really good. Sometimes there are things you're like, well, I should be doing this. I really need to mow the lawn or this really needs to get done. But, and having an animal or a dog to be like, no, I need to walk them. They need to exercise gives you kind of an out to kind of just mellow out and relax. And sometimes you'll just put on music or a podcast and just walk around and enjoy yourself. So I've done those things. And then I try to schedule some quiet time where I don't have my phone. And then, but those, like when I'm sitting, if I'm not like throwing a meditation or something, like those are still difficult for me today to like have nothing and be like, we're just going to sit here. And I would just like sometimes, we have friends that go Caribbeans, wherever, and they will just sit by like a pool with a drink and do nothing, like not reading, just sit there. And that still to me, I don't know if I could do that. I would just be like, what are we doing? When we were in Hawaii, we'd be sitting, and after about a half an hour, I'd be like, I'm going to go snorkeling again. Cause like, like, that's still something I'm just like, I can't sit here. Like, I don't know what to do with myself. It feels like I should be doing something.
It's so funny. Uh I feel you. When I think my special skill is if I can disconnect from like work and life and home, like go somewhere else, I can just chill.
Really.
But at home, like when I'm plugged in, I cannot chill.
I mean, even
Like
when we're camping, I have to chill with games or like playing games with my family, something where like, which is not, I mean, but that's my version of chilling out. Like, yeah, let's play a card game. Let's, play some board game, like something with my family, but like just sitting there having a beer. And that's great for me. That's like my favorite thing. But like just sitting there, I still get a little antsy. So I still have to work on it.
you gotta like you need to go to a spa. Oh my gosh, because you can't take like a phone or anything into the sauna, into the steam room. You just have to sit there.
Interesting side note. I have never had a massage in my life ever.
What?
No, I've never had someone massage other than like Lindsay and I, like laying on the bed, like giving each other massages. Never had an actual masseuse do a massage on me ever in my life.
Why?
I don't know. I've never gone to a spa, but there's also some apprehension of like having someone touch me that is just weird. I'm just like, I don't know if I'm going to do that.
What's so funny is my mom is the exact same way. I don't know if she's ever had a massage. I even think when they went to Hawaii, I don't think she had a massage. I think my dad did, but I don't think she did.
But I've been
Anyways,
told I should. I'm like, no. For
I,
things that Lindsay gets them, and she's like, she had a face massage once. She did
yeah,
not care for that at all.
yeah. I mean, oh my God. There are a few things in this world that I love more than a massage. Oh my God. It's truly like, oh my God. It's like an hour long. Your eyes are closed, but like you just lay there and like I almost feel like I get put into like this like trance. It's not a trance, but it's like I'm almost asleep but not really asleep. It's just like full relaxation. Oh my God, except when I had this masseuse in Littleton named Ingrid, and she would F me up in the best way. Like she would dig her elbows in. She was an actual Viking woman. Um, oh my God, she was incredible. Wow, I have dreams about those massages. Like the next day, I would be like sore from them, but like in a good way.
Nice.
Um, anyways, oh my gosh. So the whole Kevin's rule thing and get
Yeah.
pushing outside of your comfort zone. I am challenging you in the next 8 weeks to go get a massage.
We'll see. And the only reason
No.
not no okay, the only reason I'm saying that is like I know they're not cheap too, but and there's been, so I got to find one that, I can squeeze in there somewhere.
There you go. Do you have, I don't know what Boise State's health insurance is like. Sometimes you can get them covered by insurance,
I saw
or
that.
if you have like an HSA or FSA, you can pay with that a lot of times too.
Yeah, I haven't done that. I probably need to set that up. I haven't done that yet either.
Oh gosh. Well, anyways, oh my gosh, a massage is the world's greatest gift. I think like I had never had a massage until, so you know that like incentive trip that we go on every year for Sam's work?
Yeah.
I think my first ever massage was when we were on one of those. And I remember it ending and being like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever experienced." Uh, and I never looked back.
I just never looked back. It was
No.
all full steam ahead.
The My mom is weirded out, I think, by like somebody else touching her. I have no shame. So I think the very first massage I ever got, this is going to be total TMI, but the people who get massages will understand. I think the very first massage, I didn't really know what I was supposed to do, so I left my underwear on.
Which do you do? I don't wouldn't know. I'd have
No,
no
no,
idea.
no, 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 no. I mean, maybe some people do, but I'm a butt naked girly. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I left my underwear on, which is just silly.
Which is just silly.
Uh, as an inexperienced massager, I would like to know. Maybe we should take a poll. Maybe I'll take a poll on my Instagram. Have you gotten a massage? Yes or no? Do you leave your underwear on?
Well, I'm sure I'm in the minority on that, on not having a massage, but yes.
I wonder if dudes are different.
It
Like,
doesn't, I
if
figured Sam has had a massage, right?
oh yeah, but Sam's also an interesting cat, and he wouldn't think twice about being a naked boy.
Anywhere at the spa. He might just, have
No.
a towel on and that's it.
I've told you about the spa he took me to that was accidentally a nude spa, right?
Yes, yeah, we talked about.
So it's
Well, we took a hard left there.
I'm challenging you to a massage. You can decide your level of comfort.
To
Well,
try
that's
to
what I'm
find a
gonna
nude massage somewhere in town.
challenge you to do. Um, anyways, what were we talking? No, we were talking about relaxing and how you have a hard time to just like sit and chill.
Yeah.
And I think for anybody that is struggling with this, even if it is, 30 minutes after the kids go to bed and, before you start your nighttime routine or before you dive into laundry or this or that or extra work, like see if you can carve out 20 minutes, 30 minutes to either just like be, relax, read a book, participate in a hobby. I'm going to challenge you to do anything in that 30-minute period of time that is relaxing, that fills your cup, and is not doom scrolling on your phone.
Yes, I was gonna say I mean, if it's listening to music, great, but yeah, scrolling on your phone doesn't count as doing, even though largely it probably is doing nothing.
Yeah,
Uh, it doesn't count
no,
the same.
no. No, we want a cup filling activity.
Cup filling, meditation, something that
Yes.
is out of the ordinary. Try something new.
Put some slippers on, kick your feet up, make yourself a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be my challenge if you're somebody that really struggles with burning the candle at both ends, and then see how you feel. Do that little 30-minute chunk for a week and see how you feel. See if you can, take a weekend day. I remember when I was in grad school and it was just like a grind all the time, just constant grind. I made a rule that I could not study or do any schoolwork on Saturdays unless it was like midterms, finals, that kind of stuff. But no studying on Saturdays. Saturdays were my day to take completely off. And I like totally disconnected, and then I could study and like prep for the week on Sunday. Um, and in doing that, I was more focused, had better energy, and, just felt better going into Sunday and the week, knowing that like I had some time and space away from it all before I have to, get back into the grind. Like giving my brain that kind of mental break allowed it allowed me to like feel rejuvenated, so I wasn't just constantly churning and forgetting 90% of the stuff that I was studying. So I think there are little ways that you can, for somebody who maybe is struggling with this, I'm going to guess is either type A or maybe a little AB. Maybe I would say I'm kind of an AB, definitely not a type A. Um, but I'm not a type B either. I think I fall kind of in the middle. But for those that have kind of that type A tendency, I would say uh, maybe the best way to approach it is to almost schedule it into either your day or your week, to start and see how it feels, and look at it as a little challenge that we are passing off to you this week.
I think that the couple things that you talked about in there, one, even though you feel like you're achieving a lot of things and getting a lot of things done, sometimes, and you brought up a good point where you slow down and then you come back to stuff you did not do, you don't have the intent and focus that you thought you did in what you're trying to achieve, and you miss things fairly easily when you don't give yourself time to catch up. Like
Oh yeah.
you're going to be like, oh, I thought I was kicking ass, and then I slowed down, missed some stuff, and went back, and you're like, oh, whatever task you were doing, or like I missed that, I should have been more thorough here, because you're just trying to get it to go. The other thing I think you kind of have to do sometimes is give yourself some time and set some boundaries around it. Like, what would this look like for you in the first step, second, and third? So, like, if you do need some time just by yourself with some tea, you might need to like literally be like, okay, I need the door closed. I need help. Honey, can you take care, like, grab the kid for 15 minutes, because I'm going to try to like tune everything out. And I don't want people walking in and out, because that just gives us another excuse to be like, well, I just can't do this. That's not something that is possible to do. When if we make prior arrangements, set some boundaries, it is achievable.
100%. I wholeheartedly agree. I think maybe in a future episode we can dive more into the connections between uh tying our worth to our productivity. I think right now in this episode, Tyler
Mhm.
and I are really just diving into maybe some strategies for you to just simply take the rest, take action, do the thing, make the positive change, and then we can sit and dissect why we are incapable of taking the rest. Maybe a future episode will bring Kaylee in and we can chat about that.
Sure, that would be great, because I think there's also some things you might be able to tie in, and that might give you a little clarity as to why that is so hard for you.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like the chicken or the egg, right? Do we
Sure.
need to dissect it first to do the thing, or does doing the thing help us kind of unlock where it's coming from. And everybody's different. And so try it out, see how it feels, and see if it kind of shines a light on maybe why we're struggling with kind of some overproductivity in our day to day.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Hopefully this was a insightful, maybe reflective, maybe it, challenged you to put a mirror up to your face and see, you know, maybe this is something that I'm struggling with. But hopefully if it is, and we gave you some tips, some strategies, some tools to mellow out a little bit and see if we can refill that tank.
I think the other interesting part, just a quick side note, is if you don't think this is you, but some of this sounds familiar, don't be afraid to ask parents, family, friends, loved ones. Be like, I heard the other day on a podcast that productivity can be like a drug, and that, and just ask and kind of describe it and just say, just be out. Do I do this? Because you might be shocked to have someone be like, yeah, that's you. You're like, well, no. And then, but at least it opens the door and you're like, wait a minute, this might be a part of myself I need to explore and just find a way to grow a little bit and not let it control that part of your life.
Hundy P.
A knee pee?
Hundy P, 100%.
Hundy pee. Oh, I thought you said knee pee. I was like, I don't know what this means. I'm lost.
I've been following some guys on Instagram that do like slang updates, what the kids are saying these days.
Is it Mr. Lindsay?
Yeah.
I listen to Mr. Lindsay all the time. I love Mr. Lindsay.
Yes.
He is the only way I know half the shit my son is saying when he's like, squibbity toilet,
I still don't.
Ohio, yeah, all that stuff, like Riz, Aura, whatever it is. By the way, every kid, I swear, after the Super Bowl, because Kendrick was on in the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
just walked in and just said, mustard. Quentin said it like 8 times since the Super Bowl.
I'm having to have my nephew explain to me like why there was even a feud.
Yes. Oh, I got asked a long time ago, whose team are you on, Dad? There's this, and then like the whole thing, and I was like, I don't really care, buddy, at all.
I was gonna say, like, this is how I know that I'm old. Like, I was always the one like explaining it to like my parents or to my sister, and
Yeah.
now
Nothing.
nothing.
Got it. Nothing.
Just an old, washed up mom.
Think of how I feel. I'm way ahead of you on that one.
Anyways, well, hopefully this was a fun episode, and thank you as always for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for being here. Have a great week.